Let's go.
Godzilla Minus One. So I'm confused. Okay, I saw a couple different interpretations of the title, and I agree with both of them, and I think it's both reasons. So,
What were the interpretations you heard?
well, it's a standalone movie, but
It is a standalone. Yeah.
at the same time, the two interpretations I saw, the first one is basically the title. You have Godzilla is zero, and then
Mhm.
minus one would be like a prequel to Godzilla, which makes sense because this is in 1940 something, 10 years before Godzilla.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the second interpretation was that Japan was so devastated from World War II that they were at zero, their lowest point. And then
Yeah.
Godzilla attacks and takes them back to minus one, which I think both work in my mind. They both work.
I you, you know what? I don't care what you call it. It is, and that's what I came to. I came down to this. I don't care what you call it because it's the most minor part of one of the finest movies I will ever get the privilege to see in my life.
I actually
That's
agree. Which
it
and
is.
right off the bat, we're talking about how much we like it.
I just can't. I
No
just
mystery
can't.
here.
I cannot tell you how much how how much I like this film, how much it has sophistication and it is Casablanca for monster movies. It
Doesn't this
oh,
make you realize that it's taken 70 years for somebody or for them to
right.
come up with a movie that actually a Godzilla movie that has all the good action but also has a good story, which has never happened really.
Oh my God, the story, this oh this going
Yeah.
from the small island where we first see, Godzilla and not truly explaining, but at, at the same time creating the impetus for the rest of the film, uh, and
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 they
the
work all the characters, they weave them in and out of the story.
yeah, and the humanity of the film,
Yeah.
the loves, and the one of the greatest things about it is how strong of a love story this is. I mean, this is a love story for the ages. This is a group that is put together by the pressures of war, uh, and and the just the utter destruction of an area, and literally kind of, I wanted to say it literally starts with a piece. It's where the story starts with a piece of corrugated metal. I mean, that's and it goes from there.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to say how incredible and how amazing that is.
Well, the whole story, yeah, I mean, and then the kamikaze pilot, if you know anything about that. Uh,
I,
what's interesting is I bought a book a while ago before I moved called Blossoms in the Wind. And I've been meaning to read it, and it's probably still in a box somewhere, but I want to read it now. But it's about kamikaze pilots, and it's from their point of view. So it's like
yeah.
interviews of kamikaze pilots, kind
Well,
of about what makes them tick and why they do what they do. And
well,
anyway,
and how much of a doomed enterprise it was. It wasn't like kamikaze pilots. The thing is the kamikaze pilots traditionally, all the pilots had a good education,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So not it's not like they were ever going up there without totally understanding why they were. But the fact that as a kamikaze pilot that it broke your honor if you came back,
yep, yep,
and which I don't even want to go
which is
into
all we
it.
should say probably. But no, I mean
Yeah,
that's kind of
that
it's
is
at the
all
very
we should.
beginning of the story, so we're not really ruining anything.
Right. No, I'm not going to get into the whole thing.
No,
I'm
but
just
that
going to
just
say
reminded me of that. And so there's a lot of depth to the story besides just a love story. There's more to it than just that. Because there's other characters that
it is it is it
change.
it
I'll just say
is.
there's other characters that change in relation to each
Oh
other and
yeah,
how they work together, I guess. That's all I'm gonna say.
and how, and the thing is there's something about the not only is the society coming back together, but you feel the society and the tensions of a society coming back together, and at the same time you have these this this literally thrown to the wind disassociated family, right? That has come together, and you watch them rebuild with the city, and that feeling, and how they did it in the neighborhood that they the obviously staged neighborhood that they were
Oh
rebuilding at
yeah,
the same time. And I, I just, it grabs your heart,
yeah.
you
Plus,
know.
they use the original music from the first one and the original roar from the first one.
Oh yeah. I,
Oh, can we talk about skin flaps?
can we start it?
That was a bad transition, but I want to talk about skin flaps because
Skin.
the skin flaps when he roared in his cheek,
Oh right.
that was a
Yeah.
nice little added touch. And then the way he was walking was really fascinating to me, where he paused, you know,
Right. There was
each
there.
step. I mean, so
But
I think they've improved Godzilla with this a lot,
they have, but I have to say
and the
this
head
here.
turns.
The thing about Godzilla, the nature of Godzilla himself in this movie is such a minor character.
No,
That's
yeah,
the,
yeah.
the thing that's really
But I'm
cool
talking about the
about
monster himself. They've improved a lot of things. I mean,
it.
just the way he
Right,
moves. And
right.
underwater, Aquaman
Oh,
failed in
yeah.
underwater, but this is
Oh
really
man,
good.
yeah.
This
Yeah,
looks really
no,
good.
but all of him being out on the boat and stuff, and the way that it was filmed and stuff, it really did. It reminded me not so much of Casablanca. It reminded me of To Have and Have Not from the 30s.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, that feeling, uh, when when you have a group, including Humphrey Bogart, going through the fog, and just the manipulations of filming around the boat and stuff were just, they're just so convincing. And how he's creating uh these he's creating community, and he's building it back out of the elements that they have left, right? Which is really interesting, that's the same, that you're just watching a whole society come back together. You're watching, these boats come back together, and the government keeps the boats busy and all the rest of that. It's, guy, I'm just saying, it was a great glimpse into what was going on at that time.
Right, yeah. Well, I see,
And
and
I
I
saw it in
disagree.
black and
I
white.
disagree
And
with the fact that you said it wasn't really Godzilla. God, he's hardly in it. Well, I'm like, he was in it just enough to make it amazing.
right. Well, just to
So,
make it, just
and it's
not only to make it
for the
amazing, but
action
he
part, and then
causes
the other
he
real story.
yeah. The great thing about it is he causes the whole story at the
Yes, yeah.
beginning,
Well,
and
he
then
pushes it along because every
he
time he shows
pushes
up,
he pushes it along without even being there.
right?
It's amazing. It is such a, if you ever get a chance to see the black and white version, uh, you should, because the black and white version just blow your mind, absolutely blow your mind.
Well, did
I
you
got
know
to
the
see I
guy?
got to see I got to see them both in the theater,
Oh, that's
and
good. Yeah.
oh man, it was
Well,
just
I had a couple little tidbits I found when I was reading about this. Gareth Edwards, the guy that directed Godzilla 2014, he
right.
saw this and he said, "This is what a Godzilla movie should be." I thought that was interesting
Oh,
because he had directed Godzilla, but
yeah.
I wouldn't say that was a stellar version of Godzilla. That was an Americanized cheese,
Oh,
not,
the thing is I've never liked the American versions.
yeah, I haven't either really.
Shin Godzilla is
Yes.
the last Japanese version I had seen.
Which I would say
Uh,
this, Shin's Godzilla and the first one were my two favorites before this.
yes,
So
right, right. Shin,
I think we agree on
absolutely.
that.
Shin
Yeah.
Godzilla and the first one, and then this one came along, and it just, oh god, it makes the American ones look so trite.
Well, I think they took
I
the
mean,
best elements of the first one and Shin Godzilla picked the
right.
best parts, and then they
Oh
put a
yeah,
good story to
absolutely,
it.
absolutely put them together. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. No,
And then, like I've
I
always said, I've always talked about how I like Spielberg because he tells stories, but
right,
makes sense with action at the same time. So it's really
right.
interesting movies making. Um, but it leads me to another tidbit I found where Spielberg saw this at home in his movie theater, and then he went to see it in the theater twice after that. Spielberg, he's basically always liked Godzilla. but he said this is one of the best things he's ever seen. It's which which is funny that he went to a theater because doesn't he have a giant theater at home?
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm just saying he probably has a
Sure
big
that he has.
theater. No, but since he praised this movie and he's always been a Godzilla fan, and I think he's one of the best storytellers out there. That's why everybody tries to be like Spielberg. But
Right, right.
we're not
No,
talking about Spielberg now. We're talking about the other guy who is Takashi Yamazaki, right? I think that's how you say it. I'm probably
yeah.
destroying his name, but he was the director and also one of the writers on it. So
Now, who was the guy? There was somebody in there who was in the earlier iterations of it. That was the mechanic.
oh, the mechanic, yes.
And I think that if you go back and look, you might find that he was in Shin Godzilla.
Was it? And also the other guy that played the scientist looked really familiar to me.
Right, right. Both of these are really familiar guys. But the thing is that the woman, the family that comes together, that literally one of the biggest gags of the entire film is that they always deny that they are family.
Right. Yeah, no.
Yeah. No, you're mistaken. You don't, or there were other times where they had to play like they were family, but they were so obvious about it,
Right.
and I
Well,
have
and
to
also
say,
you could tell they wanted to, but they weren't
right,
telling each other.
it was
We're probably
just the
telling
most
too much.
hard. It's the most hard. Never. I just can't tell you. I have never in my life so wanted two people to get together.
Well, can I just say I've seen a lot of Godzilla movies, and I've never had one bring tears to my eyes almost. Like I was
Oh
tearing
yeah,
up
oh,
at a certain
absolutely.
point, I was tearing up.
See, when I saw it in black and white, and I took my kids and my son to see it, and we went and saw the version in black and white when we came in through here, and I swear all four of us were just bawling at the end of it. I mean, it is that kind of movie, and the thing is who how is it that you want to cry at the end of a fucking Godzilla movie, right?
Exactly.
You
And
know, it's
Godzilla's acting prowess has improved so much over 70 years.
Well, I think he's been studying. I really do.
I think so. The mannerisms. He actually at one point
Yeah,
it looked like he was doing Shakespeare.
yeah.
I like the scientist. I don't know if he naturally makes those crazy eyes all the time, but I just love how he talks. Like,
But I think you should definitely look into the connections between that movie and Shin Godzilla and
yes.
the other ones.
And damn it, I think this is a prequel. I think it really is a prequel.
It is a prequel,
But it's a
yeah.
period piece. That's the interesting thing too. It's isn't it the first time that they've really done a period piece? Like it's usually set in that time.
Oh yeah, no, it's usually set in modern time, right?
Right.
This goes all the way back to the war itself, uh and the drama that was going on the island, right? That it was just, how could you start? You just couldn't start any lower, is what I
Exactly.
mean.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's going on is you're actually watching him grow up. You're watching her. You're watching the kid grow up. You're watching the community come together.
Well, everybody changes, which makes it interesting.
Everybody changes. Absolutely, everybody in the film changes, right? Now, I talk about this all the time. I always talk about the arc of people and the
Yeah,
arc
character
of,
arcs is like
and the character arcs and the design arcs and the propping. Talk about your design and propping arcs. You don't realize it, but that the thing with the thing in the garage, right?
yes, yes.
You talk about something about that thing by itself has its own character arc.
It's yeah, exactly. Oh, one thing I like too is the subtle, like there wasn't a lot of exposition or like
There was
they
zero.
didn't really explain
Yeah.
hardly anything. But the one thing I really liked was the fact, well, they always did this. They did this in the first one. Basically, there's a reason why Godzilla has these powers, and it's because of man doing certain things, right?
Right. Right.
But they
Yeah.
didn't explain that, but they showed it visually by showing
Right,
it.
right.
And he didn't really need
I
to have it explained by some scientist. Well, blah 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 blah
thing
blah.
see, the thing is, and I've said this before, and I think I said this last time that we were talking about Shin Godzilla. I was saying that we don't, we couldn't have started the monsters,
Right.
right? I mean, really, Japan started the monsters. They started, and the thing is this: the thing is they've seen a monster. They've seen the big thing that comes in, destroys and ravages the whole society, right? I mean, and it just hasn't happened in America, and it hasn't happened in Britain, and so
Well, it's about to happen. There's an election coming.
yeah, or tell me about it. Well, yeah, you better go and
And I'm
see
not
the
going to say
movie.
what side I'm on.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah.
Anyway,
And because nobody knows what side I'm on, right? Yeah.
but no, it's I think yeah, there'll be some Godzillas in our future, but they'll be reelected.
Oh,
I had to
oh,
call back from last week.
just got stabbed in the heart.
No, but anyway,
Um,
no. So I agree with we agree on this completely, 100%. I give this a 5.
I give it a 5.
Yeah,
There's nothing else to give it.
but I
It
can't really
is,
say
it
much
is,
more about it because I have more to say. But I'll give stuff away.
yeah. That's the problem. But you know what? You have to go. You have to see this movie. This movie, this movie is truly one of the finest movies that I've ever seen in my life. It rates up there. It kind of destroyed some of my favorites.
They did everything
So,
right except for one edit that I didn't like, where they're talking about all the show. Well, wait, I can't say that. All the things show up, and then suddenly the things are doing something, and I'm like, well, shouldn't there have been like at least hey, we got to hurry up and do blah blah
there's a
blah.
script behind you, so yeah. That's the script you wanted to change right behind you there.
I will not bore you. But anyway,
Yeah,
yes, exactly. But no, you get
yeah,
what I'm saying. There was a weird edit there. It was kind of for time, probably, but
yeah.
it kind of was
Probably.
jarring for me. And I'm like, oh. And I was like, oh, okay. I guess something happened and I just fell asleep for a second. But anyway, but the whole thing's perfect.
Continuity is the hobgoblin of the small minds, buddy.
Edit that I didn't like. That's all I'm saying. Well, it was perfect except for that one little jarring,
Buddy.
but I still give it a 5. And I want to see like behind the scenes. I want to see everything about this.
Yeah, I sort of got. I want to know everything about this film. I am going to spend some time this week, kind of looking at anything behind the scenes, anything. It is such a breath of fresh air, and at a time where we have films like Re-elected.
Well, that came out 3 years earlier. I mean,
Oh, well, that explains it.
oh, this actually, they started filming this in 2019. I do know that. And they had to put it on hold because of COVID.
Did they?
And
Oh,
so the 3 years later, they came back and they're working on it again, which is,
maybe that would have. You know what? Here's the funny thing about it is I did notice that the girl got bigger at one point, right?
yeah,
And I
actually, I
was
did
like,
too. Yeah.
wow, how did they do that? And then I guess now we know.
Yeah. Well, I was amazed that probably
We
gave the
just didn't
writers
film for two
time
years.
to, I'm sure the writers were analyzing the script and they were perfecting
Yeah,
it. So
saying,
I
well,
think
we
that
need,
helped. A little extra time
yeah,
helps.
no
Oh, I do have
kidding.
an idea for anybody listening.
You're welcome.
Steamboat Willie versus Godzilla.
Oh,
What do you
yeah, that's
think?
right.
You're
Hey,
welcome.
here's the main thing that I think is now they're both in public domain.
Is Godzilla in public domain yet? I don't know if he is. I think that one's kind of
Oh
tricky.
no.
Yeah.
Oh, that's well, the original. I think that the cartoon version, the one that's just the foot,
Oh,
Godzilla and
okay.
Bambi.
Ah,
I think that
well, there you
is.
go. That against Steamboat Willie
I'm just
on a
saying.
boat. That would be amazing. So you're welcome. I'm not even going to ask for money. I'm just going to ask for praise.
That's right. Well, that's because you're in public domain. Okay. Go do whatever you need to see the movie. If you can see it in black and white, see it in black and white. That's it. Have a good
Yep.
day.
But color's still amazing too.
See ya.